She actually messed up. This lady messed up. Many years ago, I knew that the motivational speakers and these new corporate teachings that were people were spreading is going to be dangerous to this generation. I knew that. Okay, here is a breakdown of the story. So one of the CEOs of the biggest bank in Africa had a conference with his team, young employees and others, and they were asking questions and just talk to each other. Then the young lady said, when she stood up to address the CEO, this is a billionaire in dollars and of a reasonable age. The man is old, getting old, let me put it that way. Then the ladies called the man by his first name. By his first name. And the man said, no, I don't take that from you. There was no sir, there was no, any atom of respect in addressing the man. So the man rebuked her. You don't call me by my first name. Then there came another young girl also who started her contribution by saying, good day, sir. And the man said, that is better. Not just come here and call me by my first name straight away. And all of that. So the thing went viral. Everybody started talking about it and all of that. I knew that these teachings in corporate societies is going to cause problem for this Gen Z or this generation, because that is not how it was those days. For example, they will say to you, when you meet people, shake their hands and look into their eyes, have eyeball contact. You should have heard that before, that learn to have eyeball contact with people and learn to shake their hand and look into their eyes. These are the teaching people are teaching young people to how to behave in corporate world. It is very wrong. It is very wrong. You don't look into people's eyes. You don't do that. You can look into somebody's face is different from looking eyeball contact. When you look into somebody's eyeball contact, some things happen. Number one, you make the person shy. You can distract a person by looking into his contact. You can make the person shy. And also, it reveals that you are a proud person, especially when you are a junior. You can't look into the eye contact of your senior. You don't do that. Number two, you don't bring out a hand to shake your senior. Let's assume I, being the CEO of my company, and I'm walking out of the door, and my staff is coming in, and he stretches his hand to shake me. You don't do that. For example, you meet Mr. President, or let's say Vice President of your country, and the first thing you do is to bring out your hand to shake him. You don't do that. It is the superior, it is the senior that initiate any of such gesture. It is the senior that initiate a hug. It is the senior that initiate a handshake, not the junior. And two, you don't look into your superior's eyeball and keep an eye contact. You don't do that. It shows you are proud. It shows you are rude. Because when you meet a senior, your body language, your body movement must show humility, must show submission. You see that? The Bible call it, in regards to marriage, it call it shamefacedness. Shamefacedness. Saying that a woman ought to have a shamefacedness. That means that is a little being blushing, a kind of being a little bit shy. That is what happened to you when you meet your superior. There must be a little humility, a little shyness, a little body, movement that shows that this person is your senior. That is how you deal with your senior. In fact, that is how a woman ought to relate with the husband. A little shyness. That is why when you address a superior, sometimes there's a way you try to gather words. It might look like reverence or honor and all of that. That shows this person is your senior. That shows you respect this person. That shows you honor this person. So what we have today is that shake the person, look into their eyeball, and you see a boy of 18 years, 19 years, meeting a man of 60 years, and he's trying to carry out that act or looking into the man eyeball to eyeball and shaking the man's hand, holding him firm as though they are age mates. You don't do that. That is not culture anywhere. It's just a wrong teaching that grew in. Some people say it's from the West. I don't even think that's not the culture from the West. It's just a wrong teaching, and it has to be demolished and destroyed so that people will know how to. There are 3 types of relationship, 2 types of relationship with 3 rather. Relationship with your junior, relationship with your equals, relationship with your senior. There's a way you deal with your senior. There's a way you deal with your equals, contemporaries. There's a way you deal with your junior. You can meet your senior and look into his eyeballs and hold his hand and shake him as though he's your age mate. Imagine again in a corporate event of such a magnitude of organization, stood up in the crowd and called the man straight by his first name. There was no any word or any attitude of reverence. She was so confident. A young girl. This is what we are living today. And listen to this before as I end this medicine. Do not take everything you hear. Listen, learn, gather information, but you must apply them with wisdom. If you garbage in and garbage out, you will put yourself into trouble. Because this is the era of social media. People go online, just AI, garbage in some information and teach people. Many of them don't have library. Many of them don't read. Many of them are not teachers. Many of them are not trained counselors or consultants. Some people just want to make money. So what they do is that they go into professions, just go on the internet, tell AI to write a speech for them. They carry that and go and start teaching organizations and teaching people. I've been invited to a big organization where what's it called? This organization, owners of private schools, where the man that was brought to speak was practically copying and pasting everything on the display board. There was no editing. Where I sat, I was looking. And whereas it took me hours, days to research, to put my own work together, my presentation together. But yeah, I can't just see a man, just boom, on the slide. You will just see one copy from the internet. He talks on it, that one leaves. Boom, another copy from the internet. I was shocked that people do these things and they are being paid for it. They don't learn, they don't work. So they're the one teaching this for these kind of things that you call people in corporate or you call people by their first name. No. Even though you have to call them by that. What if you have said Mr. Tony? Something like that. The other guy says sir without mentioning the man's name. And it was better. So always add reverence to your dealing in corporate world. Do not mind what they tell you. Respect people. Thank you. Shalom.